but it will be on page 47. Cool? Cool. All right. Well, friends, I left my hot cup of coffee over yonder.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
You want some?
Do you like coffee with a lot of flavor?
Oh,
Just the coffee by itself.
I just drink coffee as is. No, nothing added.
Oh.
Nothing added. That's how this guy rolls. All right. So did you guys find page 47?
Yeah.
And then realize Stone's coming around, and so you have to flip to like earmark, 39 and 75, so you can make sure you get the points for it. Okay. Sound good? All right. Page 47. All right, friends.
It's not on. Okay.
Is it going? Working? Okay, friends.
We're skipping
Th-
the top part.
This is on page 47. Agree? Friends, take a look at page 48. Notice page 48 is blank.
Yeah.
Okay? So perhaps you might have to take some notes on page 48 because I'm going to use kind of a lot of room. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So as I told you, we started this yesterday and we're going to continue it today. And you remember, this is going to go through the same process every time. It doesn't matter if we're first day, second day, or 35th day into doing this. I'm going to keep it consistent. I'm not changing a thing. Friends, please, as soon as I get to a part on a problem that you stumble on, stop me. Deal? Is that okay? Does everyone understand? Okay. And I'm not saying this is not confusing, because the nice thing is we are going to do this as the same routine over and over and over again. Now, what I will do is once I get done with the problem, then I will give you the opportunity to copy it down. Okay? Deal? So let me get through an entire problem, then I'll stop. I'll give you time to write it down and then ask questions about it. But stop me at any point on any problem that you need clarification on. Okay? So problem number one. What was one thing that I had said yesterday that we have to put immediately with a problem if something's not there? I need to put that one out front. Okay? Is everyone good there? Okay. All right. The next step, I'm going to multiply the very whatever's in front of the x squared. In this case, it's in this case, it is a 1. And I'm going to multiply it by the last term. So 10 times 1, positive 10 times positive 1 is positive 10. Now, the reason I'm putting a positive is for a reason. This positive 10, if I multiply a positive number times a positive number, can I get a positive number out? Yeah. If I multiply a negative number times a negative number, can I get a positive number out? Okay. So our things that our answers could be both positive or they could be both negative on this problem. All right. So do you feel comfortable with me saying that 1 times 10 is 10? Do you also feel comfortable that 2 times 5 is 10? Okay. Are there any other two whole numbers that you know about that I can multiply together to get 10?
I feel like there is, but.
I mean, 3 times nothing is going to give me 10. 4 times nothing is not going to give me 10. We already have 5. 6 times nothing is going to be 10. 7 times nothing is going to give me 10. Okay? We can't multiply two whole numbers together to get 10 other than 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. Remember at the beginning, I said we have a positive 10, so it could be a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. Agree? This next part is going to tell us if they're both positive or both negative. What is this middle number here? Is this middle number positive or negative? Negative. So both my signs will automatically be negative. Okay? Because we know a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay. All right. So, which of these are going to add up to give me -7 if they're both negative? Do you agree that if I add -2, add it to -5, I get to -7? Does this make sense? Okay. So, this is what we're going to go with. I'm going to make sure I have an x with both of those. Now, notice I have a -2x and I have a -5x. Agree? The order that I put these, squeeze them in the middle, doesn't matter. I could have the -2x first or the -5x first. It doesn't matter. Your answer will be the same. So, the bookends, the ends of the problem, come straight down. And I'm going to leave myself a space. Okay? All right. I am now going to put -2x and -5x in between there, and it doesn't matter the order I put them. So I'll just do this, -2x here, -5x here. Okay? Now, friends, do you all agree that -2x and -5x combine together to give me -7x? Yes. You feel comfortable with that? Okay. I'm not going to put it together. I'm breaking this apart. All right. So now, I'm going to look at these very first two terms, and that's all I'm looking at right now. What does it appear that I could factor out of those very first two terms that I highlighted in pink? An x. Very good. Okay? So an x is going to come out front. So if I redistributed that back over, if I go x times x, I get x squared. If I go x times -2, I get -2x. Agree? Okay? Whatever this very middle sign is, automatically carries down. That means I'm going to be factoring a negative out at some point. Okay, so let me highlight this. Okay? What number goes both into 5 and 10? Other than 1? 5. Okay, so I'm factoring a -5 out. Okay, if I factor a -5 out of -5x, what's left? X. If I factor a negative out of a positive, it's going to change the sign. If I factor a 5 out of 10, what do I get left? If I factor a 5 out of 10, what do I have left? 2. Friends, do these two binomials here seem to be the exact same thing? So that's going to be my first set of parentheses. X minus 2. What do I have left over? What do I have left over with the squigglies?
X minus 5.
X minus 5. Done. It's factored. Okay? Go ahead and copy that down. Ask me any questions about what I just did. My friends, may I go to the next problem, or does anyone need more time? Yeah, sure. Just give me a heads up when you're done. Yeah. Yeah. Where are you at? Black, blue, purple, what color? Here? Okay, so right here, this is XX, and this is 2x, right? So they both have an x in common. So then, if I factor in x out of that, I have x minus 2 left. Okay? So then I'm going to move to here. So this middle sign comes down. I have a 5 in common between these, because 10 is 5 times 2. So I'm going to take a negative 5 out. Okay, notice I took a negative out. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. So that's why that's now a positive. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. So I'm trying to get these to be the exact same thing. That goes here. And then whatever you have left goes in the other one. Now, hey friends, if I had done x squared minus 5x minus 2x plus 10, the answer is going to be x minus 5, x minus 2. So it just flips it. That's the same answer. Okay, do we feel somewhat okay with number 1? Okay, I'm going to go to number 2. Now something's a smidge different on number 2. We don't have to put a 1 in front of the x squared. Why am I going to say that?
There's already a 3.
I have a 3 there, right? Does that make sense? I have a 3 already here. I don't have to have a 1 that I put here. I have a 3 that's already there. Okay? So I'm going to go through and do the exact same thing that I had done, but I'm not worried about putting a 1 in there. So positive 5 times 3 is positive 15. Okay? Let's think about what our signs are going to be. I'm not worried about my factors yet. In order for me to get a positive number, I have to multiply a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. Agree? So I'm going to look at that middle term. It happens to be positive. So friends, do you think they're both positive or both negative? They're positive. Remember here, this was negative, so that told us both negative. This was negative. This here is positive, so it's going to tell us they're both positive. Okay? All right, so now I have to think about what two numbers, whole numbers, can I multiply together? That will give me 15. So I have 1 times 15, and I have 3 times 5. I can't think of any other two sets of whole numbers that I could multiply together that are going to give me 15 when multiplied. Agree? Okay, friends, anyone want to take a shot at what number I want them to add up to? 16. Very good. It's the middle, right? All right. So I want to know what two numbers up there, 1 and 15 or 3 and 5, which of those, both being positive, add up to 16? 1 and 15. Do you feel comfortable how I just answered that question? Yeah. And I already said they're both positive, right? So I'm going to just circle this. So I know I have plus 1x and plus 15x. If I add those together, do you agree that I get 16x? And 1 times 15 is 15. Agree? Okay? So now, the bookends come straight down. So I got 3x squared, and I have plus 5. I'm going to squeeze in between those. I'm going to squeeze. It doesn't matter the order I do. It doesn't matter the order that I do this. Okay? So I'm going to go plus 1x and plus 15x. It didn't matter the order I do it. The answer's still going to be the same. So now I took 3 terms and I made it to 4 terms. Does everyone agree that positive 1x, positive 15x added together to give me positive 16x? Okay? I don't want to go backwards. I'm taking this apart. So what I highlighted in blue, what do I have in common between those two terms? What do I have in common between those two terms that I highlighted blue of 3x squared and 1x? I have an x. Okay? So I'm going to bring an x out front. If I factor an x out of 3x squared or 3xx, what do I have left? 3x. Good. If I factor an x out of 1x, what do I have left? A 1. Hey, friends, what do you think the other binomial, what do you think I'm trying to get the other binomial to have as a part of it?
15.
I'm trying to get my other one to break down to have 3x plus 1 as to be part of it as well. Okay? All right. The very middle sign comes straight down. It was a positive, straight down comes a positive. Okay, that's fine. No signs are changing because I'm factoring a positive out. What do I have in common between 15x and 5?
3.
Does the 5 have an x attached to it?
No.
Okay, can't be x.
5.
5? Does 5 go into 5?
Yeah.
Does 5 go into 15?
Yeah.
5 comes out front. If I factor a 5 out of 15, what do I have left?
3.
3, and there's an x attached to it. If I factor a 5 out of 5, what number is a placeholder?
1.
1. Hey, friends, what I have in parentheses, are they the same between the black and the red?
Yes.
We're doing it right. We're doing it right, friends. Those are the same. So I have 3x plus 1. What's my other parenthesis going to be? What is this? What do I have left?
X plus 5.
X plus 5. Done. That's the answer. Now, while you're writing this down, just kind of think about this. Am I using the same technique between these two problems? Like, have I deviated at all kind of what I've done? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping to stay consistent. And let me know when you're done writing down what you need to write down. So I'm trying to go through these problems very slowly. Aren't these examples taking a little bit longer? I'm doing it for a reason. I know that you can get this factoring. This factoring will improve your thought process to problem solve everyday life because you are deconstructing problems. Okay? It's a big brain building activity.
So it'd kind of be like if you're trying to solve a problem and you like think about like each aspect and you figure it out that way. Or...
So you think about this. Okay, let's say, so the non-educated person's thought process is, let's say there's a big fight that takes place downtown. Okay? The uneducated is like, oh, those people shouldn't be doing that. The person who thinks deeper, going, okay, yeah, there's a big fight downtown taking place. Let's step back and look at what really matriculated that fight to take place. What originated, because people aren't just going to go and say, okay, let's have 50 people fight 50 people. There had to be something before that, away from that situation, that stemmed that fight to have to take place. Okay? And that's a deeper, broader thinking. That's kind of an understanding factor of just society. So we're thinking, or using math, which this math has nothing to do with society, but it allows us to think at a deeper level to say, what is really the bigger picture that we're trying to focus on? Okay? Unfortunately, when they interview people when tornadoes take place, they find the person with the least amount of teeth to interview. So, yeah, that big cloud came out of the sky, went boom, boom, and everything went bang. And you're like, oh, okay. What's the bigger picture? Well, that guy was told not to build there because tornadoes always go right down that way. And it's not really society's fault because society had warned against. But when they interview that person on the news, people are like, oh, this is horrible. No, don't get me wrong. Somebody's home is destroyed by a tornado. That's horrible. But there might have been warning signs. Here's a great depiction of it. In Phoenix, in Arizona, there is a river called the Salt River. The Salt River almost always is as dry can be. You could walk across it. We used to go ride motorcycles all down the Salt River. It was fun. But you know what? When there's a huge amount of snow in the White Mountains, which is on the east side of the state in Springerville, or west of Springerville, when the White Mountains has a large amount of snow, all of the snow travels down something called the Salt River. The Salt River goes through downtown Phoenix. So right now, right next to Arizona State University, there is the Salt River. It used to be barren about a mile each direction from the river, because when that river flows and they can't control it with the dams, its water's going to go downhill. And the Salt River basically will meet with the Colorado River in La Paz County, which is in Arizona, which is on the California-Arizona border. That water gets to the Colorado River, then flows down into the Sea of Cortez, which is the Gulf of California, which is the small little peninsula portion. But now, when I go to Arizona, you have all these fancy buildings and shops and high-rise condos that are built right next to the river. I personally have seen that river flow twice in my lifetime so violently that it knocked out almost every bridge and it split Phoenix in half. You were stuck on one side or the other. And when I say knocked out the bridge, I mean these bridges they were gone. So when I go back to Arizona and I'll see my buddies going, why in the heck are they building these huge high-rises on the Salt River? I'm like, oh, they claim they have the river controlled. Can you control snowmelt?
No.
Because in 1979, there's 5 different reservoirs on the Salt River that are all dammed up. They have lakes. You have Bartlett Lake, the very top one. Then you have Apache Lake. Then you have Roosevelt Lake. You have Saguaro Lake, and you have Canyon Lake. The snowmelt was so intense so quickly, they couldn't open the floodgates wide enough on those dams. The water of the reservoir, so think Cherry Creek Reservoir, think that filled up so quickly that it flows over Dam Road. That's what all of the dams, the water was flowing over top of the dams. They thought they were going to lose every one of those dams. And it took out every bridge except for one. The Mill Avenue Bridge was the only bridge that you could cross to get from one side of the Phoenix metropolitan area to the other. It was a 2-lane bridge. One way the other. But yet, they got it all figured out. I mean, when that happened, I remember driving down and my dad saying, hey, come on, you got to see this. We drove down. We're at the edge of the river by this bridge, and the freeway bridge of I-10 that we were sitting next to, and it was gone. So take I-25. Think if a river was going underneath it. Think of that I-25 getting washed away. That's what I-10 is. Okay? But they're still building right next to it. And it's like, they obviously didn't think deeper, take Stirrups algebra class. I mean, it's not a matter of if this happens, it's when it's going to happen again. And they're like, no, we have the rivers controlled now. We know what's happening. No, they don't. Yeah, Mother Nature runs its own course. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Friends, may I go to problem number 3?
I had a long conversation.
Hey. Watch those negative signs.
Those are some real words. Yeah.
Okay? All right. Problem number 3. Friends, on problem number 3, do I have to put a 1 out in front?
No,
No, why not?
because it's already easy.
There's a 2 there. Do you feel comfortable with what I just said? Okay? So now I'm going to multiply positive 10 times positive 2, and I know that positive 10 times positive 2 is positive 20. So now I know when we talk about positive, there's 2 ways a positive number can take place when multiplying 2 numbers together. I can multiply a positive times a positive, or I can multiply a negative times a negative. Agree? What do you think both signs have to be in this problem?
I mean,
What's the middle? Negative. So what do they both have to be? They're both negative. They're both negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative added to another negative becomes more negative. Okay? So now I have to think about what numbers do I multiply together to get to 20? I know 1 times 20. Agree? 2 times 10. Very good. And 5 times 4 or 4 times 5. Agree? All right. So friends, taking a look at those. The 1 and 20, the 2 and 10, and the 4 and 5. Well, negative 1 added to negative 20 is negative 21. Does that give me this middle? No, that's not going to work. If I add negative 2 and negative 10 together, I get to negative 12. Is negative 12 the same number as negative 9? No. If I add negative 4 and negative 5 together, do I get to negative 9? Okay, so I'm going to have a negative 4x and a negative 5x that I'm going to plug into the middle. Remember, the bookends come straight down. 2x squared and positive 10. Agree? What am I squeezing in between those right there? What am I squeezing in between them? In whatever order you want. Just make sure you keep the signs. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go negative 4x, negative 5x. I could have went negative 5x and negative 4x. The answers will still be the same at the end. Okay? All right. So now we're going to start working on this. What number and or letter do I have in common between those first two terms? X, I agree. Anything else? 2. I have a 2x that I could take out of both of those. If I take a 2x out of 2xx, what do I have left? X. There's a minus sign, so I'm going to note that. If I factor a 2x out of 4x, what do I have left? 2. Okay, so you can double check it. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times negative 2, negative 4x. Agree? All right, now let's highlight my other part. Hey, what does that middle sign do? Always. What does the middle sign do? That middle sign comes straight down. Okay, that means I'm factoring a negative out, so signs are changing. Friends, what number can be factored out of both 5 and 10? 5 and 10. 5. Okay, and it's a negative 5. Can I factor an x out of both of them on the blue? No. All right, if I factor a negative 5x out of negative, if I factor a negative 5 out of negative 5x, I'm left with just the x. If I factor a negative 5 out of positive 10, I get a negative 2. Now you can double check this. Ready? Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2, positive 10. Agree? Hey, friends, anyone want to take a shot at what the answer is?
Yes.
Go ahead.
2 minus 5 and then x.
Oh, 2x minus 5 and x minus 2. Okay. So I have a question. I like your answer. How I would have shown it would have been this. This is how I would have shown it. Other than the order, is there any difference between these? These are the same. Okay, that's the answer. Okay? Wow. All right. I'm going to skip number 4 right now because I think it's pretty... Actually, no, what? I changed my mind. I'm not skipping. I'm sorry. Stirrups loses his mind. Hey, friends, before I start number 4, what should I put someplace? And a 1. Why is that?
Because
There's nothing... we don't have any numbers that are showing that are in front of the x squared, so I'm putting a 1 right there. Feel comfortable?
Yep.
All right, now watch. Ready? What's the last number up there?
negative 16.
Negative 16. So what is negative 16 times positive 1?
Negative 16.
Negative 16. Okay. Things changed a smidge just now. Can I multiply a positive number and a positive number to get a negative number? No. Can I multiply a negative number times another negative number to get a negative number? No. Negative times negative is positive. So what do you think my two signs will be? Negative and positive. I have one of each. Okay, now I don't know what order they are yet, but I'm going to have one of each. So in order for me to get 16, I'm going to go 1 times 16. Do you agree with that? 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 8 is also 16. And 4 times 4 is also 16. Okay, so now, it's not harder, it's just we have to use a little logic. Okay? So let's take a look right here. I need one to be positive, one to be negative. I can either get a positive 15 or a negative 15 right here. Okay? So the 1 and 16 won't work because I want them to add up to what? I want them to add up to that 6. So this one doesn't work. Okay? 2 and 8. 2 and 8.
You can do negative 2 and positive 8.
Negative 2 plus 8 is.
Oh, yeah. Negative 2 so I have $2 in my pocket. I go into the store. I want to buy something that's $8. So I owe negative 2 and positive 8.
That'd be negative 2 plus 8.
Oh, hang on. I have to do this real quick because I lost myself. You said negative 2 and positive 8. Negative 2 and positive 8, that's 6?
Yeah.
Because if I went 8 minus 2, or negative 8 plus 2, I would get negative 6. So I think this is the combination we want. Agree? This one would just give me 0. So that's definitely my solution. So I'm going to have negative 2x and positive 8x. Negative 2x combined with negative 8x would give me positive 6x. Okay? Bookends come down. X squared. Agree? Negative 16 comes down. Agree? We good so far? What am I squeezing in between those?
Minus 2x plus 8.
Yeah, and watch your signs. You already have it labeled to the side, so transpose that over to where it goes. Okay? It doesn't matter if I have positive 8x and negative 2x, or negative 2x and positive 8x. It doesn't matter the order you put it in. Just make sure your negatives and your positives go with what you've already assigned it. So I'm going to go negative 2x, positive 8x. That's going to work. Okay? Friends, these first two numbers, these first two terms, what do I have in common between x squared and 2x? X. If I factor an x out of x squared, what do I have left? X. If I factor an x out of negative 2x, what do I have left? Oh, I'm starting to feel okay about this. That middle sign always does what? Middle sign comes down. Okay? Friends, what do I have in common between 8x and 16?
2. No.
2 would work, but I go bigger. 8. Very good. 8's going to work. Okay? 8 goes into 8x. If I factor in 8 out of 8x, what do I have left? X. And I have a minus. If I factor in 8 out of 16, I have what left?
Oh, wait, no.
Minus 2.
Minus 2. And you can double check. 8 times x, 8x. 8 times negative 2, negative 16. Hey, friends, what's the answer?
X minus 2.
X minus
2. X plus 8.
And x plus 8. Done. Okay. Friends, I still have 2 examples left. Yes?
Yeah.
But this is such an important concept, I don't want to finish what we have. Friends, this is what I would like you to do. So I already gave 1, 2, and 3 yesterday. Agree? Friends, would you try this for me? Page 49. Would you do 4, 5, and 6? Give me an honest attempt on 4, 5, and 6. Friends, I'm asking you to try 3 problems tonight. And it gets real frustrating when we go to check off saying, hey, do you have those 3 problems tried? Oh, I forgot. Dude, I'm giving you 3 problems to try. Try it. You can do it. Okay?